there, students. Yes, we're still going with this. I just got a bit sidetracked, but we're gonna get back on track and start coloring the hair in a few ways. Alrighty then. First, we need to figure out this whole hair situation. Don't worry about the black top. I'll teach you about clothes later. So for the hair, we have a few different sections. We want to keep an eye on these modifiers, so make sure you go and click on that little wrench there called modifier properties. And hopefully today's avatar is in a decent spot. Alright, so you've got this back part, which isn't a curve. This is just modeled from those shapes that I showed you before. So that's that part. And we've got the top of the hair, which is curves, as you can see here. We've also got this part here, which is also curves, I believe. Yes. This isn't. This isn't. This shouldn't be anymore. Let me check. Yeah, no, that's solid now. Okay. And then more curves. To color it, you do need to take it out of its curve form, as far as I know. So to do that, you click on any curves that you have, then you click on Object, Convert to, and then Mesh from Curve, Meta, Surf, etc. You click that, just like we did with the braid. So if you go to edit mode now, you'll see that it's a solid object now, which is good. Feel free to edit it in this form if you want to. I just be a bit cautious about it, and don't do too much at once. Like little edits should be fine, because you've already put it in a position that you like. When it comes to things that have a mirror modifier, what you want to keep in mind is, if I have this, for example, and then I hit, actually I don't hit apply, but I go straight to convert to mesh, right? What you see is the modifier disappears, and then when you go into edit mode, you have this mirror, which is just going to make coloring twice as long. You want to mirror as many things as possible, so what you can do is you can just come in here and select all of these with L. So just select all of them, and X, delete vertices, so you only have half, and then you can add the mirror modifier back. So that's one way you can do it. If you go back to object mode, and here's another part that is mirrored. If we just remove this mirror modifier, and then we go to object, convert to mesh from curve, then it should convert, right? And then we go to add modifier, and then mirror. You've got it back. So again, just go through, make sure you've got everything that you wanted, and I wouldn't join these either right now. And you can also get rid of your curves, not your curves, your circles. You can get rid of your circles, so you can just delete that, and also delete that. Name them, keep track of them. So what is this? Alright, that's just a side piece. We can go to texture paint or UV editing as well. Go to image, new, and you want one that's the same size as the one that you have here. So 5080, I believe it is 5080, and here too 5080. And then, okay, you want to save this image in the folder with everything else. So image, save as, and I'd save it as hair, or hair and clothes. With models like this, I usually save it on the same file. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to do hair and clothes. With this image, I'm also going to go to layout. I'm going to select this, go to material properties here, this circle with the triangles in it, and I'm going to click on hair. This material we made earlier, I just changed the color, yours is probably white. Then we're going to go to shading, and we're going to do the same thing what we did for the skin. So you can either add image texture here and then find it through the file, or you can just drag a picture into this area here. So you just open your folder on your desktop, drag, drop it in there, and just put it straight through. And you'll have her hair the same color as the texture you made. Alright. So I do think I want her hair to be green. So I'm gonna select an area and get a nice green color. On the darker side though. I'm just gonna color in a square area. So just block out a square-ish shape of area. And then I'm going to finish this in Critter actually, so I'm just going to save it and finish it in Critter. There you go. So now we've got this colour. I want to select 3 main colours. So first we've got this dark colour, on the darker side of things. And then we're going to have a light colour. So I'm going to bring it from the green slightly into the yellow to make it a bit lighter. About there would be good, but I actually want it to be a bit more yellow. And then we're going to reselect this colour, and I'm going to bring it slightly into the bluer side of things. I'm going to desaturate it a bit, so closer to the white, and add some more darkness into it. These are the colours I'm going to work with for the hair. I'm going to put the dark colour here. And you can blur this line if you want to. I'm going to blur it my own way in Critter. Image, reload. Alright. This is going to help to make everything the right way up too. So if we go to layout and we've got this selected, UV editing, hit A to select all. I'm going to hit A again over here. So first A here and then A here, and we're gonna scale this down. Grab it, put it in this area. Now you want to try and keep an eye on the color. It's gonna be hard to see when it's like this. So all you can really do is your best to try and see what's going on. Let's see. Well, this helps if you go into these viewport overlays and then uncheck faces. You can see the color a lot better without that highlight on it. And when it's not selected, it'll be a bit easier to see. For now, select it with A. you can see which direction the color is. So this is coming from the side, so I'm gonna rotate this R90, and now the color is coming from the top down, which is what you want. So I'm gonna grab this here, and you'll see that there's a little gradient from dark to light, dark to light. Alright, so you're just going to do that for all of the curves that you've done. So this one too, going to hit A, and actually, since we're here, I'm going to select this, and going to grab that and put it to the side. Now this, on the other hand, that should be the bottom, since it's a little messed up here. So just hit A to deselect everything, B for box select, select all of that, scale, bring it over here, R90, this should be right. If you're not sure, just make sure when you bring it upwards, the color is coming from the top. You'll see on that side. Bring it upwards and you'll see it's coming the right direction. Scale that if you want. All good. This, however, we're going to put it to the side, because this is going to be the hairband. And scale it in the Y direction with S and Y. And just put that there. Go to texture paint, you can see that it has that gradient too. Keep going. Not the fringe, not there. These curves. UV editing, A, scale. These ones will be a lot easier, the ones that are mirrored, because you can see what's happening on the left side instead of having to see on the right side. Rotate 90. Alright, now you're at this place, we need to deal with the rest of the hair. So let's select this part, go to UV editing, hit A, and you're going to have to unwrap this. So actually before you do that, this isn't applied yet. Once you're happy with the shape, go to layout, and you want to hit apply over here. Alright, is this? Yes, this isn't applied either. Fringe sides, you want to apply this modifier to subdivision, subsurface. You don't want to unwrap anything that has a subdivision modifier on it, unless you're okay with having a kind of inaccurate texture paint, which you shouldn't be okay with that. So let's do the front. UV editing, U, unwrap. A to grab, S to scale this down. I'm gonna put this hair underneath this. Turn off your proportional editing, and we're gonna start selecting. So this one, on this one. What we don't want is these overlaps that we can see here. Gonna grab it this way, rotate it a little bit, grab, and that should be fine. Now some more UV editing, A, unwrap. This isn't overlapping at all, so A, scale, grab, put it back here. Alright, So since these are going to be hard to see, we are going to have to draw these shapes in. So you don't want to be taking too much of this space. If ideally, just leave this whole area blank. And this can go smaller, to be honest. I'm gonna hit A and scale that down. Texture paint. Texture paint. Going to select these colors. And mark where this is. I'm gonna stay outside the lines, remember? You're gonna do the same for the rest of the hair. And then we can finish colouring this however you choose to, whether you choose to do a Blender or save it and open it in another software. UV editing, grab that, scale that down, rotate, texture paint. Now you can choose whatever colour you want for this hair. It doesn't have to be green. Just as long as you follow the general rule that I laid out. You pick a darker colour. And then you head closer to the yellow zone. Pick a yellowy colour. And then head close to the bluer zone. And then you hit a bluer colour. So the colours I'm using is not green, yellow and blue. But it's a green that I like, and then a lighter yellowy green that I like, and then a darker bluer green that I like. That's how I usually pick colours for these kind of things. And we're going to do this piece on the side. We are going to have to go into modelling for just a second so I can show you this. We are going to make sure screencast is working in edit mode. There we go. And you want to select a specific line. So let me turn off X-ray. And we're going to look for a line that divides this piece exactly in half. So you could click this line and continue it all the way around. Another thing you can do is just hide all of these. So just click the eye until you reach this part. And just click all of these. So like I said, you can click this line that goes split down the center. Or your other option is to select the line that is next to that but on the inside. So if you select just this back area right behind the middle, like I said, you will get a slightly uneven unwrap that you'll have to go over. But to make this simple for everyone, instead of having to edit all of the unwraps, we're just gonna select this middle side. This is the furthest edge that you can just see by turning on X-ray and just comparing the lines that line up and don't. There'll be one on the edge that doesn't overlap with another one when you look at it front on. And then Control E, mark scene, UV editing, A, unwrap, and you'll get this. It's not going to be easy to tell which is the front or back, but if you just scale this down, not as small as the fringe, make it bigger than the fringe. Select that half, grab, put it there. You'll see that only the front lit up, but you're not going to put it in this section. So A, rotate 180. So I'm just hitting R and then typing 180. Grab that. and just fit it into this side. So yeah, this is the front. So I'm gonna keep the front on this side. And kind of line them up. I'm gonna just keep the fronts on the left side and then the backs on the inside. Yeah. So texture paint, I'm gonna do the same with that I did with the fringe and line this. Image, reload. Alright. So I just colored this in Critter, and you can see that these are all colored in. Yes. Now, you do want to go in with those curves and edit them individually. But for now, let's see what we can do about what's going on here. Now, this wasn't colored in the best, and a lot of these lines still aren't colored in, so just neaten stuff up wherever you need to. And remember to save as well. And you can also go in with black and bring these lines into a much nicer looking place, if that's what you want to do. But it doesn't really matter too much because it won't really show. The only thing that will show is anything that's on or inside these lines. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, why not join them together so you can color them all at the same time? You can do that, but I recommend to keep them separate for as long as possible. It'll be a lot easier with weight painting. Because they overlap so much, it's going to be pretty tricky to weight paint it perfectly. Alright, this is looking a lot better. What I'm going to recommend you do is go back into like these places and UV editing. And even though it is going to be hard to see, you want to select like this one, nope, this one, and you can see that all of these, the gradient goes way more down, so you can adjust this so it looks a bit more similar. So I'm gonna scale in the Y direction, grab in the Y direction, trying to bring that gradient down like the rest of them until it blends in a lot nicer, like that. Same with this one here. Push that down. Ooh, looks a lot better. These as well, scale in the Y direction. So that looks better for that. I'm gonna click on these ones and modeling, because I want to bring this in now, because you can tell it's sticking out. Okay, that looks a lot better than it did before. Gonna do a similar thing with the rest of the hair, but won't be able to do them all at the same time. So let's start with these side pieces. UV editing, hit A. Texture paint, select this darker color. I'm gonna start with a bit on the side. I'm gonna hit this over here, start the pressure, and I'm gonna enable it. Bring this up. And start adding some color here. Some more at the top, less at the bottom. This is gonna be the inner piece because it's on the right side. I'm gonna try and copy that on the left side too. Like that. And just keep going. That's coloring back there. Just keep an eye where you're putting color. So now we've done that, instead of trying to get these individual pieces to match these curves, we're gonna do the curves first. Gonna make sure we have the darker color selected. I'm gonna turn on size pressure and just add a bit of texture on this side of the image. Since that is there, I'm gonna turn off radius and darken this side. So I want this to be the underside. Actually, instead of doing it like that, I'm gonna turn off pressure and just bring this down to about 40%. And color in this hair. Go over the top half a bit more. Alright, so a lot of these are not the way I want it to be. Which is fine, we're just gonna have to go over them again. So make sure you have that selected. UV editing. We're gonna go one at a time. So this one, select it. This is too dark on the top, so I'm gonna hit scale X minus 1, S X minus 1, L S X minus 1. You'll see that what we drew is starting to show up now. You can actually just select all of these at once. So we're going one at a time. So you see the bottoms are going to be darker than the tops now. And the roots will be very dark. Just want to keep an eye on this. Grab in the Y direction, not in the X direction. You can push this over if you want to hide some parts from the side, if you need to. Go to texture paint. You can try and have a bit more control over this by selecting this medium color. Trying to push back those darker lines. Now you can color the hair however you wish. You can copy from a photo if you want. But you definitely don't want these to be too thin. Just painting in a bit of, painting this backwards a little bit. Not too much. You can do the same with this lighter colour. Bring it down a bit. And then the white colour. Again, you don't want to do this too much, because then you start getting these really thin streaks and you don't really want to do that. Again, you don't want to do this too much, because then you start getting these really thin streaks and you don't really want it to be that thin. Oh, and have your editing on. That looks better to me. Gonna select this lighter color. Put my radius on. And try to add a bit of highlight. Let's make it rather thin. So this back part is nice. It's these parts that I don't like. But I can easily go back over it and fix some of that stuff. So now I'm gonna select this and try to darken the tips a little bit. Turn off my radius. Darken these ends a bit. Gonna readjust these hairs so they fit this image a bit better. Yes, this, then UV editing. And I'm gonna go one at a time. Because you can see the highlight, you can have a better idea of where to put it. So this I'm gonna grab in the Y direction. Can bring that down. Oh, can't bring this down just yet, so scale Y, grab Y, bring that a little bit higher but also down, scale Y, G, Y, oh actually bring that up, that's in a good place. These I'm going to bring up too, so scale Y, grab Z. These would actually be good to be as big as possible. Grab in this direction. L. Grab in the Y direction. Bring this down. And this one as well. Scale Y. Grab Y. Okay, so I like that a lot better. I'm happy with that for that first layer of hair. See how squished it is? Just keep that in mind. Image, save. Let's do the rest of the hair. These side parts, gonna try and mimic this down here. Gonna first do the top, which is just this color. And this should be the top, because of what we did before. turn off strength so this can be a bit harsher. The only difference really here is we're gonna add some of this darker colour to the sides a bit more, because we want it to transition into a darker colour. I'm actually going to turn strength on. You could draw it directly onto the model if you want. I turn strength on and strength off and radius on. That kind of thing. It looks pretty half decent. We're going to do the fringe next just because it's the most visible. These are the parts you put the most time and effort into. But it's not too bad, is it? I would still go over if I just save this and yeah, click on this UV editing, this one here. I would try and darken this. I don't know, it feels like this is such a small amount of darker colour. If I grab Y, this does extend it in a better way. I grab Y like that and bring this down. That's better. Image, save. File, save. Alright, the last bit of the hair, we're doing the exact same way. We're just trying to keep the bottom side of the hair on the dark side. Since this is the under part of the hair, it won't really have much highlights at all. So I just keep an eye on making it blend in with the rest. And if you want, just darken all of these inner parts. So they aren't pitch black. Some of these edges I want to lighten too, so they're not so harsh. Just trying to figure out where is that edge there. There it is. I just don't want it to be visible. An easy way is to hide the borders and this top as well. See how the back looks. I actually like how the back looks. I don't know what you might think about it. Some of these hairs stick out in weird places, but it's not too bad. And so you just finalize it as much as you can. Oh, and another thing, that braid. Never really touched on that. So let's do that. UV editing. Can't actually see it too well. In texture and paint mode, it looks kind of flat. Yeah, and the back looks a bit better, so I think it needs to be flipped. Scale X-1. So now the back is the darker piece. Scale. What you really want to be doing is trying to get some kind of shadow going on the inside. Try this. Yeah, that looks good. Looks good enough to me. It's definitely not perfect, but the shadows kind of hinted at being bright, so I'm pleased with that. I'm gonna also color this little hairband. I'm gonna go and further detail these areas, just like we did here. Okay, you can stop there. I'm gonna go into sculpt mode and try and make this look a bit nice to look at. I'm gonna use inflate with the strength low, so I can just scale this up with F and drag. Oh, maybe because it's mirrored. Ah yeah, there we go. Let's turn that strength down. Just trying to make these look less like spaghetti and more like cascading hair. Gonna do it again with these. Just go on sculpting. And do I like this? Image, save. Alrighty, so that is the hair painted. You can, of course, go into more detail if you want. You can add more texture to it. You can add more lines to make it look a bit more realistic, or even less to make it look more anime-like. But this, I'm happy with. So remember, you're just dragging some colors up, you're dragging them down, adding a little bit of highlight. You can definitely go further with the highlight. So if we grab these and select this color, I don't believe did we use this color at all? Yeah, not really much. You could definitely do something like that. Could also add like cute little marks in the fringe if you wanted to. Like my hair has little hearts in it. You could do that if you wanted to. But it's all down to your preference. I think it's a nice little addition. Image, save. So that's how I color hair. Gonna quickly show you something in Critter with different colors. Yeah, if you do this kind of thing, you have the hair. You can definitely just go to filter, adjust, HSV, adjustments, and you can mess around with a little menu that comes up. You can't see it on my screen, but you can play around with some like the hue and saturation, change the colors about if you really want to. You can also go into a different editor and mess around with that. Let's could go to a different editor with filter, adjust, color balance, and then you can play with individual things like only changing the shadows or only changing the midtones, etc. So I could actually make this more red toned or more green, etc. I actually think I like the color as it is, so I'm not gonna mess with it too much or at all, really. That's it for today. That's the hair. I hope yours looks pretty alright, but I'm happy with this. Yeah, next time we're gonna rig this up. It's gonna be a bit similar to rigging the body, so you'll notice a lot of things that are rather familiar. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, class. Oh yeah, feel free to put your work, like image pic in the comments below. Farewell.